Hello, hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah,
Hold
it's
on
so
one,
sunny there. I'm like, I'm in my bedroom, it's pitch black.
hold on 1 second. Let's see.
Oh, freaky. Hi, guys.
Hey,
Is Michael cliffhanging or what's happening?
Okay. This is not a Zoom background, by the way. This is real. It's a real background. Yo, 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 yo.
Hey, you made it.
I made it. Where'd I make it to?
I don't know, but you're in the car.
In the car.
I don't see no trees in the background.
I made it to the car.
I don't see no trees in the background. All I see is mountains with
Yeah.
no trees.
No trees.
How's Michael doing?
I haven't talked to him in a while. He's pretty good though.
Oh, golly.
Good, man. Everything's good.
Cool.
Yeah. So I know we don't ever take a break. So I kind of wrote some stuff in the post about a bunch that's gone on with the church since we last met, but we meet every week, so I think everybody knows what's going on. Um, ZOE bought a building, their first ever. They're going to be renovating, um, and yeah, their first location ever. So super exciting. They're moving in the meantime from the $1 million theater they're at now to a huge high school campus. It's a really beautiful theater. It's really nice in the meantime. So we'll be meeting there. It's a lot of cool stuff. The conference happened, which we talked about already, but um, yeah, yesterday's I went to all three services yesterday, which is crazy. So I went to 9:30, 11:30, and 7 p.m. I think probably more because I needed the message. It was really good. I don't know if anybody got the chance to watch it. I know Lauren was online, Portia, and I think Whitney watched it. um, but yeah, it was really, really, really good. I mean, it was Chad preached the first two, so the one you watched, and then the next one, and then Nate preached the 7 p.m. So it was a little different version of the same message. So it was really cool to hear kind of the same message be talked about twice by two different people. Perspective, right, added to it. So the title was "Pray Yourself In or Talk Yourself Out." This one for me is, I think why I went to all three is because this one for me I needed to like beat this thing in. Um, I needed to hear it several times. I needed to beat it into my head because I think sometimes I feel like I have more control of my life than I actually do, and I take on responsibility that sometimes aren't mine, or I believe that I have full control of and that I'll take care of it, which is not true. And one of the key things he had said in this message was, you know, the busyness of people can really get in the way of your relationship with God. Like, and that one really struck me because I do that. I pretend, that's the first time I ever said this, but I said pretend. That's what I do, I guess. So I pretend like I'm too busy sometimes to have that next step or deep relationship with God, or to spend time to pray about things that are really on my heart, or affecting me in my life or people around me's life. And I said pretend there, but I don't consciously think about it. So it was weird that I said that, but that's what I'm doing essentially. I mean, I'm busyness is that thing that, um, you know, you prioritize things that you think are more important than really just the presence of God, and the person that's actually taking care of your life, that's taking care of all the things that you believe you need to take care of, and that's why you're busy. So it's a very ironic process that we do, not take the time to spend to pray on the things and build that relationship and create his presence in our life, so that the things that we're worrying about are taken care of, right? That full trust we talked about last week too. Like, if we have a lot of things going on, it's only because we're not fully entrusting that the one person that's already went through it all for you has got your back and is going to be there walking it through you again. Like, he's going to walk side by side with you. There is no when he's walking with you, it's always good. He's walking with you always. And if it's bad in your eyes and your human eyes, if it's bad, trust me, he's walking with you through that bad too, because he wants you to learn something. He's standing right there. You're not going to fall. You're not going to collapse. You're not going to be ruined. You're not going to be done. He's standing right there. He's walking with you through what you think are the worst times of your life as well. But what happens is we don't take the time to pray in. We don't take the time to trust that he is standing there, that he would walk through fire with us. That why would he do that? Because we have this ego about ourselves that we shouldn't have to go through any pain. Why can't I just be happy? Why can't I just wake up every day and everything be okay? And that's just not the point of life. It wasn't the point of his life. It wasn't the point of his sacrifices for us, which is literally the reason why he sacrificed, so that anytime we went through something bad, that we had something to lean back on, a reference to, a story. Like, no, it's not even close to as bad as what he went through. Everything I've gone through in my life, he's already gone through, to show you that it's we're able to get through it. That was the point of that. That was the point of the suffering. To allow us to, at any time in our darkest moment, our lowest moment, to be like, oh, all right, stop. I'm being a little over dramatic here. Like, there's nothing that already hasn't been through for me. So I know that I can get through this because he's standing right here with me. I think often what we do is we think sometimes that he's left our side. We think that he's busy, or our problems aren't good enough for him, right? That we're not good enough for his presence in our down moments. That for some reason, that like, it's glory be to God when be to God when we're doing good. But because we're in our bad, that sometimes we think that we're not deserving of his presence in our life, that we're not deserving of him walking through that with us, because we do put him on this pedestal, right? So we believe that's like, why would he be here with me? He's gone through all this stuff before, and he is all high, and so many people look up to him and for him. You know, he's not going to be here walking through the trenches with me. And the Bible literally says that his presence is infinite. It's always, and it's everywhere. There's not a divided amount of time. It's with everybody all the time. That's his presence. And that's part of the message was is presence. And somebody said, Carol said in the chats, we do the Lauren's in there and Portia, and but when you watch the YouTube, and Facebook does it too, you know, part of the ZST team, it's supposed to be, we're always serving. So like in the chats, we're supposed to be chatting through that and talking to each other, and anybody joining in and welcoming them and making sure people come back and listen to the message. And I think because I was in church while I was doing it as well, I was just feeling a lot more presence in my life from him. And I was writing a lot, talking a lot, and Carol said something like, I don't even know. You're coming with a lot of presence today. He said something like that. But and I thought about it, it's like, because I really was feeling his presence in the message, I think in the church itself, on the chats, I was feeling his literal presence like upon me. And I think we work the best when we're like that. We work the very best through our lives when we feel his presence and we trust that he's standing next to us and beside us and helping us through and pushing us through the things in our life, in those victories, but more importantly, through what we think is failure. You got to know that he doesn't disappear when things are tough. That's not the God that you've signed up for. It's quite the opposite. If anything, you should think when you're really on top and you're really doing good, and you know his presence, your relationship's strong with him, your community is strong, that maybe he can step aside and take care of somebody else that's struggling worse than you. But even in that situation, he doesn't do that. He's with you at the very highs and the very lows, but for some reason we want to crush our own egos, our own personal emotions. We want to take ourselves down and say we're not worthy of his presence. And that's just not true. That's not the God that we've signed up for in this relationship. So, you know, presence is a huge one. And you got to make sure that he has a presence in your life. You got to pray in so that he has a presence in your life. You got to pray and have that faith so you understand that the things you're going through, the busyness you think is your life, or you can't make it to church because you're doing 2 jobs and kids or whatever it is, and you don't have time, and I'm going to go next week, and it's prioritizing. You got to pray in to allow yourself to not talk yourself out of the things you're doing. It's the easiest thing for us to do is talk ourselves out. I do it. I've done it so many times because I'm very convincing. The same way I've been good at sales, I'm very good at convincing myself the same way. Right? So, well, I just watched a car crash. That's not good. Okay. All right. They seem okay. That was weird. Car just crashed into a pole, backed up, and then left. All right. We'll pray for him or her or whoever that was or what was going on. Needs more presence in his life. But look, even to that, God's sitting in the passenger seat, obviously, because he just pulled back and took off. He's still driving. Great. Let's talk about some other stuff. So a couple other things with process, power, perfection. So there's 4 things he touched on. You know, allowing yourself the chance to process things, process your relationship with God, process the things that are going on in your life. This is the same thing we just talked about last week, I think, too, is allowing yourself the understanding of what your life is and means. Like, what are you so busy doing? What are you so busy worrying about? You know, I know that fear is real amongst people, and I know bad things are happening to people all the time, but truly, it's so much easier to say this than I know because of my work in psychology. Like, I know it's so much easier to say than actually practice, but truly, there is nothing that bad to worry about, because if you have a good relationship with God, if you truly believe in all the things, all his power, that there is nothing to worry about. You're at peace. Whatever you're going through is meant to be. It's supposed to be part of your plan. There's a something behind it. There's something on the other side of it. You know, they always say it's there's something on the other side of what's happening. And if you can have that enlightenment and that peace in your soul and that relationship, trust with God, you will understand your lows are only precursors to your amazing highs. That's all it is. It's almost like bring it on, like bring some of that, because I'm ready for what's going to come right after it. I'm ready to like have the excitement of the massive high that comes right after the low. Right. So I know it's super hard to take on and say, oh, yeah, I'm just going to be happy through this moment and just trust God's got me. When something real is happening to you, real, like we talk about this, all of us in this chat, in this group have had these real moments that these you don't have to explain it. Like it's consuming, it's all consuming. It thinks it's only happening to you and the only person in the world that's going through this deep. Sometimes it turns into depression, sometimes it turns into sickness, sometimes it turns into lack of movement. I can't move forward, I can't do the next thing. All these things that we develop, those are the things that we have to start to trust in the process. We have to start to trust it. The bigger the thing is, the better something beyond it's coming. Right? They put it on the shoulders of the strong. They put it on you because there's a gift that's been given to you that you just haven't opened your eyes to yet. Right? You can be, it's okay to say that you are gifted. It's okay to say that you're special. It's okay to say out loud that you are the best, that you are amazing, that you are beautiful, that you are capable, that you are here for something bigger than yourself, that you're here for something bigger than the people around you. It's okay to have a little bit of bragging about you, because that's what he's doing. That's what your God does. He brags. He brags on you and about you. He wants you to be the best version of yourself. And when you train somebody, an employee or your kids or whatever it is, if you've ever been a boss or a manager and you've trained an employee, your intentions are you want that person to be the best version of them. You want them to be you plus, right? Like, because obviously you've been put in a position to take ownership to train another human being because you are good. But you want them to be better you. You want to train them up to be as good as possible. But what do you do during that process? Everything it freaking takes for that person. God is your manager. God believes in you. God wants you to be beyond him. Godly. It says it. He wants you to be godly. Right? So it's man, it's like to me, it always sounds like a contradiction sometimes when I speak, because I feel like I'm talking to myself 10 years ago, because I was the person on the other side of this conversation. That's why I talk the way I do now. I'm talking to my past self. I'm talking to the person that from an outside image might be like, oh, doing great things, and compared to what they've done or the success, and oh, great. But on the surface, I was doing the opposite. I wasn't praying in anything. I was talking myself out of everything. I was separating myself from the relationship with God. I was distancing myself for both reasons. One, because I thought he had no hand in my success, because I've never asked and he's never shown up in that way. And two, during my downtimes, it's like he's not going to walk with me. Why would he? I've never put any trust in him for my ups. Why would he walk with me in my downs? Oh, meanwhile, he's literally there the entire time. I've never done anything without him. I've never got through anything without him. This is just us talking to us. We got to start talking to ourselves better. And it's not just this relationship with God. It's your relationship with yourself is also God. I mean, we got to start talking better to ourselves. We got to start talking through situations better. We got to start processing situations better. We have to start understanding that we need to pray in for his presence to be in our life. Right? It's not, I really related this. In church, Chad talks a lot about, every once in a while he throws in this like thing about being weird. Like, oh, everybody thinks being like, super churchy and praying and like your hand in the air and all that stuff is weird. He's like, well, good. Then I want to be weird because I don't want to hold back who I truly am because I'm fearful that that person will think that being godly is uncool. Right? I don't want to keep my connect group I don't want to keep my connect group in the background of my life. I don't want to keep my faith in the background of my life. I don't want to keep all my talks, my deep talks with my friends in the background of my life. I don't want to be one person and another. Right? I want to be weird, right? I want to be hands in the air at church and if somebody needs something, that you step up and pray for them, even if they don't believe in it. It's not their responsibility, right? It's not your responsibility to sign people up either for a church. But it is your responsibility to show up as you with your faith. If it's strong, if you have faith with God, show up for people. You don't have to ask them if they're Christian before you pray for them. You understand? I mean, I think we got to pray this guy into our presence constantly. We got to start talking to ourselves in a much better way. We got to start talking to ourselves about ourselves in such a better way. And the easiest way to do that is talk through his eyes. Talk about yourself through his eyes. There is no fault. He walks with you all the time. He's always with you. He brags about you. He thinks you're the best. That is your number one BFF. That's your homie. That's your everything. He is your guy. He's got your back through all of it. You're gonna go with him with all the breakup stories and the annoying things you want to chat about and things are going wrong at work and the Karens and all this stuff. He's got your back. You want to bring all the success to him? He's got your back. You want to cry and whine about ridiculous things? He's got your back. He's the best friend you've ever had and you've always wanted, because he's always going to show up for it. So you got to start talking about ourselves in his eyes. You got to think about, what would the best friend in the world look like for me right now? What would that look like if they were here physically? What would I want out of that person? You got it, right? You got it already. We already got it in God. That's what you want. You want that best friend to be, when they're not with you, not talking crap about you, but talking praise about you. That every time you're not around and somebody's new around, they bring your name up, they can't stop bragging about you. That is God. So you got to start believing it for yourself. You got to start believing that if he's bragging about you, start creating a circle. This right here is life for me. This Mondays for us, and us getting together and us sharing our vulnerabilities and being real and having deep conversation. This is everything for me. This is my life. It gets me all the way through every other day. Because when I first started doing these things, it was a separate thing for me. It was a separate part of my life. And then when I left, I was me in front of other people. What I thought that they wanted to see from me, what I thought that they expected from me. And then I did this in the background. And I was shameful of even sharing it because I didn't get good responses from the people that I shared it with. But do you know why that was? Because the circle of people I was hanging out with were not the people that saw me in God's eyes. They were the wrong people. I was trying to force something that was not right. They're the wrong people. Check your circle. Rich Wilkerson talks about it all the time. Great message. Check your circle and check it constantly. If everybody in your circle is not looking back at you with the same eyes you're looking at them with, time to swap them out. There's only so much room in the circle. Swap them out. And that's not to say that friends from 20 years or 40 years can't be acquaintances, but put them on the other outside ring. Put them on the outside ring. Something happens, you'll show up. If they need you, you'll show up. You can still be a good friend. But the ones you want close in that circle, the ones that you can see and look right dead in their eyes, and you can see your greatness inside their eyes, and vice versa. Because that's God speaking to you. That's how he sees you. But every time we go back to our lives, we start to see ourselves through a lens that's not even truth. It's not truth. It's the devil speaking to us. It's not real. It's how he gets in. Starts to tell you things about yourself that it's not true. Starts to lie to you about yourself. It's not true. Where we start to talk ourselves out of who we are. We start to talk ourselves out of our awesome relationship with God. We start to talk ourselves out of, yeah, you know what? It's not cool to be at church. You know, it's not cool to talk about the gospel to other people or pray for people. Yeah, you're right. It's not cool. That's the devil. Right? Nate said in his 7 o'clock, he said, we always got to deal with 3 people all the time. Right? Devil, God, and you. And everything we do, you got to deal with 3 all the time. It's never going to go away. And the tricky part, the easy one is God. The tricky one's the devil. Because he uses what God praises you on, and he starts to backdoor it to make you feel guilty about it. That's a tricky one. You got to pay attention to, because that's what we're talking about. You got to pray yourself in so you don't talk yourself out. The devil will put that on you so that you start talking yourself out of these things that are great about you, that are wonderful about you, the relationship you have. He's going to try to attack you. And he doesn't attack from the front. He does not let you be prepared. So we've got to start talking about ourselves better. Got to start self-talking. Beautiful, amazing, talented, skillful. I am a child of God. I'm here to serve. I'm literally here because of what he's done for me. I've literally got through what I've been through because of him. All the close calls. If you're going through something right now that feels consuming, can you think back at a time where you've gone through something similar? Maybe it was months ago, maybe it was years ago, maybe it was a decade ago. You know why you've been through it before? Because you're going to go through it again. It's part of his showing you. It's part of his teaching method to train you. He is your manager. He's trying to make you a good employee to become manager one day. He's trying to get you to that level. And he's trying to show you the process. Here's a situation. A customer is going to come in the store. He's going to start tearing your head off for no reason. How do you handle it? That's what you do when you train somebody. You don't just tell them all the goody goodies. Oh, we're the best company in the world. We always win. All the customers are happy. We have the best product. We have the best prices. All of our employees are happy. This is amazing. You're trained. No, the best leaders in life show you all of it. They show you the gritty. They show you the bad. They show you how to deal with the situations. How do you attack adversity? How do you attack a situation that you don't see coming? How do you handle it? That's God, man. He's training us. He's our guy. He's the guy. He's our guy. Our homie. We always say our homie. Got our back. Did anybody any particular, I'm gonna take a short little cut in here, but in the message itself, anything grab somebody in the message itself that they want to share, or it's on their heart just about what we're talking about right now? Crystal, is that you waving your hand or you just waving at me? Go ahead. There you go. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
So I love like what you say about open loans, because like my way you do, like, just loans is like makes you not good. Feels not good at all, like where you are as a person. It's just sometimes people need to know about you before people judge your personality, your traits, your religion, so many more in lives. First of all, like people judge me who I am, but after people maybe see that and saying like, oh wow, Crystal's was right on this one. Crystal's always good, always right on that one. I told myself like this, hey, someday if you see me anywhere, like tell me like, oh, I will give you advice, but that advice to let people know like, hey, you were there supporting them a lot and everything. This week actually people actually tell me thank you on the day, like thank me to have good knowledge, good awareness. Today I went to my first orientation as a brand ambassador for social media for Women's Step Up Network, and it feels really good. You know, I learned the network first, learned everything that I had in the books, and I learned that very easy. And then like I learned about this. I read today. I went to college. I read Pastor Chad's book again over and over. I finished the book really easy, and you know, and I love that so much. It's like you need to have your son. Sometimes you need to walk, and then you hold the book and read the God, pray for him in peace somewhere. No distractions, no people around you. And I did that today, and I was like, oh, wait, hold on. Pastor Chad told me something like this on the day. Like I went to church on the day. Like I was thinking, wow, what's going on was people's minds, and everything else was people's intake of my life. You know, like God's gave me good reasons why I'm here to know. And I just like I tell God this year, please be a watch party leader at my first church I went to. Please give me good season, good vibes. And guess what? The God's told me you are the WN
Yeah.
book. And I'm officially a watch party leader and officially in church. And I was like, oh my God, my heart is grateful to helping people. Who is the churches and why?
Good.
You know.
I love
But
that.
yeah, anyways, that's my one of my point of view. Like negative down is not good for your lives. Like reading the God and reading like good positive energy news or anything like that helps you grow as a person and what you do.
I love it.
Just give it reminders up there, you know.
I love that. And it's not just like Crystal was saying, it's not just this is not just foofy stuff like, hey, tell yourself you can do something, you're gonna do it. There is scientific research on the brain, how it works too, about positive self-talk and talking yourself in, and how you talk about yourself and the vocabulary you use and the words you use. So you know, while you're talking to God, while you're having this relationship and praying in and talking to God, start to pay attention to your vocabulary as well, because it's important how you talk about yourself to him. Don't they all three of Nate and Chad spoke about this when they both talked. Like, don't be prepared for your conversation with God. Don't get ready to have the prayer. Like, do the prayer thing, get on your knees, have the prayer before, then go through this like perfect prayer to him. Pray whenever. One, you don't have to have a time for it. Pray whenever. One, that's one. Two, be vulnerable. Be yourself. Let it come out. This is the only person you can speak to that will not judge a word you say. Not one. So don't script it. Don't what you learned and you go in, you over here, you say the Hail Marys and Our Fathers, and then you ask for something. You know, speak upon the things that are really on your heart. He's listening all the time. And just so you know, you can't hide anything from God. He already knows. I hear this all the time. It's like you you don't want to share something because, again, like you don't want to share with your friend. You feel this like vulnerability or like this possible, you could be shut down, or you could be scorned, or you can be closed out to a friend group, or you can feel isolated by sharing the real you. But God already knows the real you. There's nothing he doesn't know. He's already been there. You know, you want to invite him in these spaces. Nate was talking about, like, sometimes we want to invite God in this space. Like, okay, I'm ready for you to be here in this space. And he's like, yo, cool. I've been here waiting for you. I'm already here. Do you know what I mean? So like, it's not, we always think it's this thing where we have to be ready to tell him something or be ready to share with him something. And it's just not that. He already knows everything about you. Be vulnerable, pray differently. Think about that. Portia.
I just wanted to say that in the process, he talked about presence, process, perfection, authority, and your authenticity, right? And prayer is vulnerability, like you said, and vulnerability is intimacy, and intimacy is into me, I see. And so, like we talked about, we have to have that in ourselves, like that level of that relationship, like it always comes back here. And we have to have that foundation in ourselves. Like, in the message, he says, is your faith a mature faith? Right? So when we know ourselves on that level, our thoughts dictate our behaviors or our actions that we're going to take. And so then, like, the actions that we're going to take to create this life, right? Or if we're going to actually have God in us, with us in this life, and like what we're going to create. And like Chad had said, are we doing the good thing over the God thing? Right? And so, like, going back to last week's message, how are we viewing God? And like, what is our perception of who he is for us in our lives, right? Like, because Jesus over everything, you know, like to God, through God, and for God. And so, like, if we don't want to pray about what we think about, but we have to pray about what is our actual truth, right? And like remembering that everything is built on the foundation of God, like our house is built on God. And so with the authenticity, the truth, vulnerability, and intimacy, that's the foundation in ourselves.
Yeah.
And then that's the foundation in God, right? And so, like, those are some of my favorite words, because that's, we have to start asking better questions to get better answers, right? Because like, as above, so below. So if how we do one thing is how we do everything, our relationship with God is going to dictate the relationship we have with ourselves. And then, like I said, the thoughts are going to have the behaviors, and then that's what we're going to create while we're here, right?
Right. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, a lot of great.
I want to say something. I want to say something about Portia said earlier. That's amazing. Like, you know, like I like both of Michael. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt for 5 minutes. So, before I have to go, but have him class in 3 minutes. So I say this right now in people's minds. Like, my way you do, like, you see better results after, you know, like reading, like seeing God. If you are not in person in our church or anything, just watch it online. Like, you know, like God's helping you reconnect back with him. And my way you do, like, just open, you know, your eyes, saying like, oh yeah, Jesus was right. Sunday is Jesus Sunday. We pray on Sunday. No alcohol, no beverages, no nothing like that. Just reading one things. Get a cup of coffee, cup of tea, drink water, or any beverages that you have. Reading God and listen to him before you know it. You know, God's giving us like good opportunities. Like Portia's good on her life, you good on your life. Anyone's here on your Zoom, Michael, tonight is very good. But sometimes they have a back. You know, we don't know about people's lives, you know, out of sight things, you know. It's like you see better results after in your processing of your life. So anyways, I want to say that before I have to go. That is why I get myself ready.
Good.
So yeah.
That's a good point. I like everything you said there. I think there was a story that was told. Oh, Chad was at a a retreat camp or something, and he, old school pastor, walked up to him and said that God spoke to him and thought that God is, you're in or out, and saying that you're either in with God or you're out. And Chad was speaking on the fact that when he had this interaction with him, that he thought immediately that he just doesn't feel like it works that way. That it's not one or the other. But I think we feel like that a lot. God, he was trying to say a story like God isn't. That's not what God believes in. That's not how he believes. It's not how it is. But I think we think a lot of times when we're doing something bad, or we feel like we're leading a life that's not worthy, or what we talk ourselves into. That's what this message is all about. What we talk ourselves into and out of, that we start talking ourselves in this hole where it's like, well, if I'm not in, then I'm on the out, and I can't get in. And we talk ourselves really on the outskirts of this whole thing, like, well, I can't go to church. Those people are too holy for me, or they'd see me for who I am, or I'm a fraud, or we start to really talk these things when we're going through a situation in our life, in a season that sometimes lasts years. I had a season that lasted majority of my life, like when I was young till 6-7 years ago, where I was really on the out. I talked myself out of this circle, of this opportunity to be in a connect group with people that I care about, that share, and we can grow together. Like, I talked myself out of opportunity to be around people that saw me for who I was, not who I was being, for who I was. And I spent so many years talking myself out, saying, because I'm not leading the life I believe that people that follow Christ are, then I'm out. He's not gonna accept me. He's not gonna bring me in. Like, these people are doing the thing. They're at church, and they're in community, and they're leading groups, and they're volunteering, and they're helping, and they're doing all these things, and serve teams, and they're showing up for each other. And I'm like doing this, trying to like beat myself because I felt like some way I was wronged, just being born. So I talked myself out of opportunity. I talked myself out of years of opportunity of great people being in my life as witnesses to my life that can show up and tell me, dude, you're doing amazing. I never had that. Never had it, even when I was doing amazing, because I wasn't surrounding myself with the people. I was surrounding myself with the devil's team. I was surrounding myself with people that would give me like, yeah, but are you doing that good? I mean, you're really not. I mean, look around you. Don't you want more? Like, I was having that constantly stabbed at me, and I didn't have the right people around me. So I encourage everybody, if it's not us, it's not the point always for us just to make each other feel good in this connect group, but it is for us to get fired up and look around and go out and see the people, recognize the people that might be in the situation that I used to be in, or you used to be in, or the past us, and embrace them. Show them, tell them the way. Like I said, you don't have to walk up to somebody in the Bible and start splashing with holy water and make them feel uncomfortable, but just have a conversation with them, man. Model who you are. Model who you are. Show them the experience you went through. Bye, Crystal. Share the experiences you've been through, because for me, it's the easiest to share my life experience because I've gone through what I'm talking about now. It's why I always talk to myself in these things, because I've gone through it. I've gone through the, like, no way, I'm not good enough, or God's not on my side. He's not got my back. He never has. All these things have happened to me, and it's his fault. I've been there. And it made me feel nothing but more darkness. It made me feel nothing but less impressed with myself. It made me feel shameful. It made me feel like I was never going to be enough, and I had to keep on pushing until I was there. So I encourage you. We all choose to show up to this thing. We all choose to serve, show up to groups, be involved in the church, and do something about our lives. But there's a lot of people that feel like they don't have the choice right now. And I want to encourage you to keep your eyes open for those people. Share your story. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a God thing right away. Just share your story. Give somebody hope. Let them know. It's not about judgment. He sees everything. You're not hiding from him. He's already witnessed you and he still loves you. So why not come and hang out with us? And not be alone and not have anybody to talk to about it. So I encourage you guys to spread out. I mean, we grow slowly in this thing and the church is growing. I love that they got a church now and they're going to look for a second one, and the connect groups are growing like crazy, and it's so exciting right now this time. But it takes all of us all the time. Don't think that Chad makes all this happen every day. Don't think that his wife makes this happen every day. The small group, the staff that they have make all this happen. You guys make this happen. The community is what grows the church, not the other way around. So everybody in this chat, everybody in all the chats that show up, we all have equal responsibility to go out and show up for some people. Because I can tell you right now, my personal account, I wish that Chad had come into my life a lot sooner. So we all are Chads, is what I'm trying to get through to you. Chad just clarifies the word so we understand the communication with God. He's not any different than any of you. We all have this relationship with him, and we can all share in our own way that relationship, our experiences, and model it for other people and for each other, because we're all going to be keep going through hard shit too still. Trust me. It's always going to come. It's just, who do you got in your corner when it's there? God, one. These type of people, two. Right? And most importantly, you got to show up for yourself. I love you guys. Seriously, this means the world to me. Like I still have this whole move. I'll share some vulnerable stuff. This whole move I'm very easygoing. I'm very easy to move around and travel and jump and get going. I'll jump on a plane, go to Asia tomorrow. But this challenge in itself, and moving here and doing this job and getting back in the corporate world of things where I've really had control of my life, has been a unique challenge for me. And I've had some dips in days where I've really had to lean into this and my understanding, my relationship, my faith, and trust and know I chose it. It's the right thing. It was planned for me. I'm here. So it doesn't matter how much we do this. We're still going to have little moments, all of us. So just trust in the faith and the power and the presence of this man that put us all here with a plan. Our general manager, the GOD. Appreciate you guys. I love you guys so much. And we'll see you next Monday. Thank you.